Expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. This following program is sponsored by Causeway, LLC. Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk. Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
And good Sunday evening to you. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you very much for tuning in to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We got a lot in store for you tonight. We've got industry experts from here locally and around the country all lined up to talk to you. And boy, have you heard about some of the crazy goings on in Russia? No, I'm not talking about invading Ukraine. I'm talking about what they're doing with Bitcoin. That's a thing, and we'll be covering that for you tonight. Let's get started. Turn it over to our host, the guy whose name is right on the show, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Russell. You know, gosh, the world of cryptocurrency, it's always evolving, and the news is always changing and exciting stuff, as you had mentioned earlier. But I just want to welcome everybody who's listening here in Tulsa and around the world. This is the show for you, one of the few cryptocurrency radio shows in America. But there's a lot of news. Like I said, a lot of news this week. And, you know, I'm going to share a little bit about these trends and some of these things that are growing and happening around the world. And I'll be your tour guide. Consider me your genuine crypto tour guide to navigate this cryptic jungle. So if you're looking for all the deets, then you've come to the right place. With me on my left is my sidekick and co-host, Eric Cooper. Eric, welcome back, my friend. We missed having you on the last episode.
Hey, I'm so happy. You know, obviously, Scott's, if I need to be replaced, he's a good guy to do that. But yeah, Matt, you know, one thing that I was thinking about when I was off is the amount of news that goes on. Like, we could probably skirt past it and not address things, but you know, we want to be honest with everybody and, you know, relax folks when they're in the middle of their doubts or their fears, because that's one thing that we don't believe in. We think that there's momentum everywhere.
Well, besides of just sharing some fun facts and bringing industry leaders that are, you know, changing the way that we view the monetary system, money, blockchain technology in general, a lot is going on, and we'd like to bring those people to the show to talk about it, give us the skinny. But if you've been watching the news, you know, I know a lot of people are beating the war drums with Russia, but have you noticed the recent stance Russia has taken with cryptocurrency? I mean, recently, the Russian government has said that they plan to start treating things like Bitcoin as a type of currency instead of a digital asset, meaning that they will treat Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies more like their own currency. And although last month we've heard Russia's central bank wanted to ban crypto, the Russian finance minister came back and fired against that idea. In fact, he reasoned that banning crypto would result in the nation falling behind other countries. And then on top of that, Putin, the Russian president, came out and said in a video conference that Russia is well positioned for cryptocurrency mining. And Putin noted that Russia has an abundance of resources that can be used to mine cryptocurrency. He argued an outright ban could result in the squandering of these natural resources. Lots to watch here in the coming days. And even, you know, with this whole Russia-Ukraine stuff, even Ukraine came out and made Bitcoin legal. So no matter what side of the fence you're on, it looks like Bitcoin is gaining some steam. And if Russia adopts Bitcoin, in my personal opinion, it means a new type of global arms race might begin. What is that, you think? Well, let's call it the Great Hash War.
You know, it sounds like bullish news to me, Matt, and we all know that Russia Russia's all about a nice little race with the rest of the world. So, another one is ConocoPhillips. And Charlie, we were talking about this, and then you have much better grasp on these things. So we're welcoming in Charlie Spears with Nakamoto Partners, and his lovely wife is sitting right next to me, too. And so tell us a little bit about the ConocoPhillips news.
Yeah, it's Nakamoto Partners, this is our bread and butter. We do a very similar thing, so I look very closely at this space. Conoco, and we've kind of heard whisperings of this for a little while, Conoco is selling their otherwise wasted or flared gas to be mined Bitcoin with. So that is, there's this abundant, often wasteful, environmentally damaging byproduct of oil production that they often burn into the sky, and it's methane. It's very damaging, and it's a huge revenue loss. So, this is being done by a couple majors and some smaller companies, and I'm really excited. I think they'll see how great of a deal this is and start doing it in-house soon, hopefully.
Well, that is a bullish development when it comes to the cryptocurrency industry. But what also is bullish, in my opinion, is getting paid in cryptocurrency. And how about you share with us, Eric, share with the audience how that is actually possible to earn cryptocurrency.
Absolutely. This segment's brought to you and made possible by a company called Hedge. Do you have a strategy to obtain cryptocurrency on a regular basis? Do you plan to automate your dollar cost averaging? What about getting all or even part of your paycheck in cryptocurrency? Hedge is revolutionizing how you get paid. Hedge makes it easy to automatically convert your pay into crypto. Whether you're an employer or an employee, you can get started in 4 easy steps. Start getting paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. Crypto is a long-term play. Start a strategy today. Hedge is here to make it easy to stack those sats month after month. And what are you waiting for? Start living on the hedge and get them at gethedge.io. Once again, gethedge.io, and our first sponsor. And again, it's very, very easy.
Yeah, let them know that Matt sent you. In fact, you can go to my website, mattjmoore.com, and on the homepage, you can scroll down and find the button that says Get Hedge, and you can start the sign-up process today. It's super easy. Let's talk about this. With so much going on in the world of Bitcoin, we like to share with everyone in-person opportunities. And this month, we have an upcoming opportunity, the next Tulsa Bitcoin Meet Up. And to help us share the details is our regular contributor and Bitcoin miner, Charlie Spears. You heard him already. But Charlie, welcome back to the show. Hey, please introduce yourself again and just kind of give us the skinny on this next Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup, because I think it's going to be exciting who we have coming to speak to our group.
Yeah, I'm Charlie Spears, longtime Tulsan, Bitcoin fanatic. I mine Bitcoin. And I and some other people, Matt, Eric, the greater Bitcoin community, we organize in-person meetups called the Tulsa Bitcoin Monthly Meetups. This month is Thursday, our meetup at Bar 473 at 7 p.m. Thursday, 7 p.m., Bar 473. And we have a very timely subject matter. We have a Canadian expat who decided to leave Canada because he works full-time in Bitcoin. And he's going to be talking about why Bitcoin adoption is urgent. We talk about this, and it can be a great investment. It can be very lucrative. But there's an urgency behind this, because if you've been paying attention to what's happening in Canada with government crackdown on citizens' bank accounts, and specifically as it relates to cryptocurrency, there's a very strong case for why we need to build and adopt Bitcoin as fast as possible. And so our guest this week, this Thursday, is going to be talking about that from a very personal place. And so, again, that is this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Bar 473.
I know. I'm going to be excited about that. I will definitely be there. In fact, we'll try to get him to join us in studio next week when we have the legendary Canadian Bitcoiner Greg Foss joining us to talk about how Bitcoin is the perfect insurance, especially when the government cracks down on free speech and free movement and free speech money. But I think it'll be great to bring these two people together, have a conversation. I think they even know each other, and the reason why I'm not mentioning our guest name is we like to keep things a surprise here. But whether it's a minority or majority, Bitcoin is the answer. And despite your political views or positions, Bitcoin is apolitical money. It just does not care where you're from and what you believe in and whom you associate with. Bitcoin is fair money and freedom of speech money in the way I like to talk about it. And, transactions cannot be stopped. It's completely voluntary. I know the government in Canada there has been threatening to freeze Bitcoin accounts, but the truth is that is not possible if you keep it in your own wallet with its own private seed phrase and private keys. In fact, a letter was written to a private developer, a company that develops Bitcoin wallets, and this was a response that they gave to the Ontario Superior Court of Justice. They're called Nunchuck. It's a self-custodian, collaborative, multi-sig Bitcoin wallet, and they stated that they are a software provider, not a custodial financial intermediary. And they said, our software is free to use. It allows people to eliminate single points of failure and store Bitcoin in the safest way possible while preserving privacy. We do not collect any user identification information beyond email addresses, and we do not hold any keys. Therefore, we cannot freeze our users' assets. We can't prevent them from being moved, and we do not have knowledge of the existence, nature, value, and location of our users' assets. This is by design. Please, Canada, look up how self-custody and private keys work. When the Canadian dollar becomes worthless, we will be here to serve you too. So I thought that was a pretty epic response. So again, no matter what side of the fence that you're on, Bitcoin's for everybody. And Bitcoin is free speech money. And we're going to have more conversation here in the next episode with our special guest. Stay tuned. He is the CFO of the HBAR Foundation.
We're going to take a quick time out. You are listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live and local in the big city of Tulsa on a Sunday evening. Stick with us. We got a lot to talk about. You listen to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. Do appreciate you tuning in tonight. So far, we've already talked about Canada and Russia. This is truly an international topic and of interest to people in every corner of the globe. And you know what? We've got a nice little jump start on them right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thanks to people like Matt and Eric and, of course, Charlie Spears. Let's get started with Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Let's do it. This is a party. Every time we get together, we talk about Bitcoin. We talk about some fun topics. In fact, we got the best theme music, I think, on our show.
Amazing theme music. Thank you, Levi May, for choosing
that.
Yes, sir.
Right?
That's our program director, by the way.
But like we were saying earlier, we got some stuff to cover, and I just want to welcome everybody back. This is a Tulsa-based show, and we are trying to spread the good news about Bitcoin and the possibilities that cryptocurrency has to offer. And with me is my co-host, Eric Cooper, and Eric is going to share with us maybe a place and a spot that you can go listen or download some of these past episodes.
Yeah, 37. That's the number of episodes we're on right now, and this has been great. So if you have just started getting back into the crypto swing or getting into it finally, you can go on KRMG on demand. You can check out all the old episodes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, mattjmoore.com, and you can go and find anything. We got lots of stuff out there covering anything from the beginning of money, what is currency, all the way to hey, calm down, things are in full swing. So,
well, we're like he was saying, today we're going to talk a little bit about building a career in cryptocurrency. But this show is made possible not just by our sponsor Hedge, but also our new sponsor, and they are here locally in Broken Arrow. And so before we kick off this segment, just remember that with this winter weather that seems to be kind of bipolar, on and off, right? We were just talking about that during break. That salt and sand and all the crud that gets on that road, and it looks like we got some snow coming up here in the next couple of days. I know it might not seem like it with the 70-some-odd degree weather right now, but it's important to get that stuff off of your car, and that's why segment 2 is brought to you by Bubble Up Car Wash in Broken Arrow off of 470 East Kenosha Street, and they are Broken Arrow's newest locally owned car wash with all the bells and whistles to make your car clean, shiny, and dry. So come take advantage of their free vacuums, air wands, and towels. Right? I know. It could be a family affair.
There you go.
But they have unlimited wash plans starting at $19.99 a month, and you can add family members for $15 a month per vehicle. And so if you got the winter blues, come cheer up at Bubble Up. And who knows, you might catch a glimpse of their family dog, Bentley, the Bubble Up pup. So check them out at www.mybubbleclub.com. Eric, Why don't we get this segment started and let's kick off our guest today.
So on the line, we've got Joshua Sroge, and he is the CFO of the HBAR Foundation and Hedge. Joshua, welcome to one of America's only crypto radio shows. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, guys, thanks so much for hosting me. I really appreciate it. It's great to be on the show today. Talking to you from Louisville, Colorado, spelled like Louisville, Kentucky, but pronounced Louisville. I've got 33 years in finance and accounting, 6 years of that in crypto. Advisor to a lot of companies in the space. I have a CFO services firm, and as you mentioned, I have a full-time job. And just quick comment on, I just wrapped up ETH Denver, so Ethereum Denver. It's a developers conference, a lot of builders. It's the second largest conference now in the United States after Bitcoin Miami. So it's been a really crazy week, tons of people, lots of excitement in the industry here.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, Joshua, we currently know a lot about Hedge and the services that they offer, but I'm loosely familiar with the HBAR Foundation. Can you share with us what HBAR is and what the foundation does?
Well, guys, candidly, I'm new to it too. It's been about a week, so I'm a fresh arrival to it, though I haven't been really familiar with it. HBAR is the token of the Hedera Hashgraph network, and Hedera launched sometime around 2017. And the interesting thing about it, and I'm not going to get too technical, but there's, we talk a lot about blockchain technology, and like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and so on are blockchains. Hedera Hashgraph is technically not a blockchain, it's a hash graph. So if you think about what they call distributed ledger technology, that's sort of the parent of both Hashgraph and blockchain. They're related, they're sort of siblings, but they're not the same thing. So that's kind of interesting technical point there. And the second piece is foundations. So folks like Algorand, their token is Algo, or Cardano, also known as IOHK. Everyone knows the token Cardano, ADA. In the listing, they have the Cardano Foundation. So a lot of folks in the what they call the layer one protocols, HBAR being one, again, Algorand, Cardano, and so on. They have these foundations, and what they are is they exist to further the ecosystem, to get traction on the network, have people build products. So in a lot of ways, they function like an investment firm, but they don't have any return. So it's not like a venture capital firm. It's more a nonprofit where developers come and apply for grants, and the foundations provide those grants so they can build interesting new product on that layer one protocol.
Hey, Joshua, so I always love hearing people's kind of genesis story, how they got into crypto. Can you share a little bit about the start of your career and, how that kind of evolved?
Yeah, this will be a little more interesting than the technical stuff, right? I had a couple of clients in 2016 in the crypto space that were using Bitcoin to facilitate cross-border transactions. And then I got a call in 2017 from some local investors who had invested into Shapeshift, which was Eric Voorhees. He's an old, what I call an OG crypto Bitcoiner. He created this exchange called Shapeshift, and they were starting to really get busy in early 2017. This is when Bitcoin was about $1,000 before the rally cycle. So I got called by them to help them figure out their accounting. So I spent about a year and a half at Shapeshift. It's really exciting, huge growth. But then, as we all know, there was the boom and bust, and we had the bear market. Took a little time off. I got a call from Catherine Coley, who was spinning up Binance US in mid-2019, and come January of 2020, I joined Binance US, which is now the third largest crypto exchange in the US, and I was there for almost 2 years. Left in October. So that's the genesis and sort of storyline of my time at crypto exchanges, and now I've moved into whatever they call the protocol layer.
Hey, Josh, Charlie here. Those of us who've been in the broader Bitcoin and crypto space for a long time know that it is both a marathon and a sprint. Can you talk about just mentally things you've learned and practiced as you continue building in this crazy, wild, accelerating space?
It's a great question, because one thing I always say is a week in crypto is like a month in real life. And if you think, well, this would be an interesting, exciting space to work in, you are spot on. It is. It's incredibly exciting. The people are really energized by what they're working on. It's 24/7. The markets never close. So, you're going to work probably all the time. I like to say I don't work 8 hours. I work every other hour, 24 hours of the day. So that's an intense piece of it, but it really juices you. It really gets you going. Things are changing and dynamic every day. It's so unbelievably enriching and energetic. I can't say enough great things about the space.
So we've just got about a minute and a half here, but newbies, someone who understands that cryptocurrency is the future, what kind of advice would you give them if they wanted to try to create a career in cryptocurrency, in the crypto space?
I say get that first job, figure out what it is. Is it interning? Is it something peripheral, picks and shovels? Get into it in some way, because even though something is related to crypto, it's not necessarily crypto, but get that on your resume. That first little bit. There's so few people that have the experience. We're so new here.
I'd say go to Miami too. Just to be just me.
Yeah, go to Bitcoin Miami. Move to Miami. That's possible. But I think all the major cities, even you guys where you are, there's going to be activity. There's going to be opportunities.
Absolutely.
So I say look locally and then move nationally.
Well, we're getting ready to go to break here, but when we come back, we got more with Joshua, more to dig in, and more fun questions to ask him. So stay put, stay tuned, and we'll bring more content with you.
All right. Well, it has been an interesting show so far. We got more to talk about. And by the way, if you're interested in Joshua's website and that hedge stuff that we were talking about earlier, gethedge.io. Not .com, not .anything else. Gethedge.io is where you go learn more about that. Yes, you can set up an account today and get part of your paycheck in crypto. Yes, you can. All right, quick timeout. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrencies with Matthew J. Moore right after the news on 102.3 KRMG. Tulsa Bitcoin Meet Up is Thursday night, 7 p.m., Charlie, is that right? At Bar 473. And by the way, Bar 473 is just a little bit west of Sheridan on Admiral. Bring a jacket. It's going to be chilly that night. Please welcome back our host, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Russell. Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Welcome, crypto newbies, lovers, and experts, as I like to say. And again, we're going to take you on a journey, and we got a fun guest to unpack some of this stuff with. But I'm going to go ahead and let my handy-dandy co-host introduce and bring back on our guest.
Thanks again, Matt. So we've been having a conversation with Joshua Sroge, and he is the CFO of the HBAR Foundation and Hedge. Joshua, thanks. Welcome back to the show. And how bad am I butchering your name? Am I close?
Actually, you're pretty close. It's Sroge. It's a strange Ellis Island creation from a century ago.
All right, that's great.
We can't spell that name, so it's going to be spelled like this, and that's what they did when immigrants came to this country.
Well, let's start here. We've seen a lot of positive news for the crypto space when it comes to the overall adoption. And, as a CFO in the crypto space, what has got you the most excited and why?
Well, coming back from East Denver, you just see so many people in this space that weren't there before. So that's one piece. All these developers, but not just that, but Google, Microsoft, Robinhood, as you know, also has plenty of crypto on there, investment funds. And the other thing is the smartest quants, the people who do, program all the trading engines for out there on Wall Street. They're all interested in coming into this space. Right? You might read about some of these big folks like Ray Dalio or Steve Cohen or some of these billionaires who run these hedge funds. Some of their top people want to be in this space. And I think that really tells you that this isn't just about Doge and meme coin and pumps and so on. It's really got legs. It's really going to be around.
So when it comes to the regulatory clarity, what's the biggest challenge that you often face as a CFO when dealing with cryptocurrency, and what gives you the biggest headache?
Oh, the biggest headache is when my mom watches Ozark and says, "Oh, is that what you do?" But besides that one, BlockFi just paid a $100 million fine to the SEC, and I call that the negative space approach, which is and the SEC and the IRS are sort of the big two gorillas in the room that you have to deal with, I think, in this space and in terms of understanding where you can operate as a business or even as a person, since we all have to file tax returns. So I think the key is You can let your dog run around the house and punish it when it jumps on the couch, or you can teach it not to jump on the couch. And I think that's what we're missing. We need less of that, what I call negative space, like, oh, you did something wrong here, you're going to get punished, and more of the positive space. Here's the regulatory framework. I think that said, tax is always your larger risk than securities, because it's got a clawback, it's got a long reach back. And again, you don't always know when you're wrong. So I think those are the ones I would love to see some clarity on. And I think it's coming in the next couple of years.
Joshua, we're intimately familiar with all the wrong ways that the U.S. has tried to tackle this, the adoption. What are some of the right ways that you think the United States can incentivize building in the broader crypto space domestically?
Well, that's a really great question. I think, aside from regulatory framework, is some of it's just communication. I think maybe you guys saw in the last month or two, some of the industry leaders went and spoke at Capitol Hill to the folks who are going to craft and guide the regulation. I think that's communication and understanding are some of the big ones. You go to a party, and in crypto, we call folks that aren't in crypto or aware of it, we call them normies, which is not derogatory. We love them. They're our future customers, but most people just don't understand it, and it's not intuitive. It's super complex, and we can't expect all the folks in the regulatory agencies and the government to really have a comprehensive understanding of it. Heck, I barely do when I work in the space. It's complex. I think that's one of the things that I'd like to see happen. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, on top of that, it's constantly evolving super fast. I mean, when it comes to tax compliance, do you have a favorite piece of software that you use, like CoinTracker or something? I mean, do you have any tips when running a business with crypto?
Oh, yeah. It's great timing for that question, too, right? Because it's February. We've got a couple of months. CoinTracker is great. They might have partnered with Coinbase. I think if you go there, you'll see that. There's also Zenledger and Coinly and a few other folks, and I apologize for the ones I'm missing, because I've talked to all of them. And that's great. If you're doing, as a retail customer, sort of like you or I, doing a few trades, if you're doing thousands and you're a business or a high-velocity trader, you're going to need something institutional like TaxBit out of Salt Lake City or Bitwave. Both of those are really strong, what I call enterprise grade. And so it depends on your use case. But if you're using a lot of wallets, if you have a lot of accounts in different exchanges, you're going to find great use with something like CoinTracker or Zenledger or Coinly.
So what about what's your connection with our sponsor Hedge? How did you get to know them, and tell us that story?
Yeah, my good buddies at Hedge. So I met Paul, who was one of the founders, back in 2017. I was passing through Nashville, taking my daughter out to University of Virginia, and we met for dinner because we connected, I think, through banking. He was at a bank, I was at Shapeshift, and we stayed in touch. And as time went on, he pinged me and said, "Hey, David and I, the other founder, are starting this company. It's a great concept. Being able to route some of your standard fiat or USD payroll into crypto, and that's really the genesis of it. And as I said previously about the industry, it's still pretty small. A lot of people still know each other. It's grown tremendously, but it's still a small town. And so that's the genesis of getting together with those guys.
Well, we'll definitely be seeing them at the Bitcoin conference down in Miami in April. Is there a possibility that we're going to see you there as well?
Oh, absolutely, guys. I'll be the 6'4", 240-pound guy running around with a Bitcoin shirt on, or a Bitcoin tracksuit, or something of that nature. I love that conference. It's really exciting. Thousands of the faithful come, and a lot of new people as well. Miami's, the mayor is really encouraging of the ecosystem. Suarez has done great things. I think it's if you're looking for a second home, that could be one. Right.
Well, and I know, we're offering discounts on the tickets on our website. So if people want to join our coalition of Okies down at in Miami, just go to my website, mattjmoore.com. We can get you 10% off of these very pricey tickets, but it's definitely worth it due to the connections, the education that you get, and just the overall fun. I mean, you got the sun, you got Miami. It's a big party. Everybody's talking about Bitcoin, and everybody there that I meet is just so much connection and relation, especially in this space, because what attracts a lot of us to this space, we often have a lot in common. So I would encourage you to come with us, and it'll be a lot of fun. Eric will be with me.
Yeah. And Joshua, so did you go last year in June?
I did. I did.
So We have talked quite a bit and, made dad jokes and stuff about, as the price goes up, your discount gets bigger. But, last year, what would you think was your biggest takeaway? Was it the keynote speakers, or was it the just the mingling, the after parties, the Matrix style rave in the rain the last night? What was the biggest takeaway for you?
Yeah, I'd say the three big ones were, one is the conference was incredible, right? You have all these different vendors, some of which, and I say this with modesty, even I hadn't heard of, and because I've heard of quite a bit from being in the business for a lot of years. But there were a lot of new vendors, great to meet, see old faces, meet new people, and just meet folks walking around with their badges on. The big parties afterwards, always great. Everyone seemed to have a yacht or a nightclub to go to. So that was another big piece I enjoyed. And it was just bouncing between the conference, parties, and then meetings at hotels and so on. So there's so much energy. It was like basically 16-hour days.
Right. And
just meet and greets. It was great.
Yeah, and as wonderful as it is, I know not everybody's going to be able to go, and so that's why I want to make it known that in Oklahoma City on March 26th, we have a thing coming to town, or to the state, I should say, called Bitcoin Day. It's a conference, and there'll be some notable people there, and I know myself, I'll be a panelist. I think Charlie will probably be a panelist, and, it's a little bit cheaper than the Bitcoin conference down in Miami, so, again, we're making these opportunities known in advance so that you guys can partake and learn and grow and meet people in the space. But we got a couple minutes left on this segment. And Charlie, do you have any thoughts or any words or questions for Josh?
Sure. Yeah. Josh, while I've got a little bit more time left, can you expand into exactly how a hash graph works? Maybe we're jumping in the technical end here, but I'm really curious about this in your own words, as in layman's terms as possible for me.
Yeah, and before I do that, I just want to encourage listeners to attend the Tulsa Bitcoin Meet Up, because that's really where you get started. If you're I mentioned that earlier, but I strongly encourage local meetups. Be a node in the network, as I like to say. And that bridges me to hash graphs, right? So you think of blockchains and Bitcoin specifically, or any of the other ones that are technically blockchains. It's a series of blocks that are linked, right? They're stacked. Visually, think of it that way. And I'm going to oversimplify things here, but you have these stacked blocks. Well, it's different. The consensus mechanism works different in Hashgraph. It works on what they call a gossip-to-gossip type protocol. And there's a whole technical explanation of how it works, but it's a different kind of consensus mechanism. And, guys, I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole and take up all the minutes, but it's worth a quick read. You can go very deep into the technological difference, but it is substantially different. It scales much larger. In other words, people talk about Bitcoin's limitations or ETH, and as you know, there's a lot of congestion on network and fees go up. Hashgraph can scale to 500,000 transactions a second, so much more scalable architecture because of the nature of it. Much harder to do a 51% attack. So I'll say that much about it.
Well, and Joshua brings up a good point. I mean, this space is so expansive and there's so many different projects. I get asked questions all the time, and I'm often seen as the expert, which I know quite a bit. But the truth is, it's almost humanly impossible to keep track of how all of these projects work.
And I don't know anybody who knows everything about all of it. I don't think that person exists.
No.
Maybe that Satoshi guy may not even be a real person. He may have his mind wrapped around all this. Hey, we got to take a quick time out, give you a little breathing room. You can look up some jargon like you need to look up orange pills and sats. And while you do that, we're going to pay a couple bills. We'll be right back with Cryptocurrencies with Matthew J. Moore. Listen to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. Hope that you're enjoying the conversation this evening. I am. Some of it's over my head. That's okay. Even though it's episode 37, I'm still trying to figure some of this stuff out too, so don't feel bad. But as mentioned previously, you can go find all the other episodes there. They're waiting for you right now at krmg.com or on the KRMG app in the on-demand section. You know why? Because Matthew J. Moore demanded that they be there. Let's bring him into the show. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks. That's right. This whole space, this whole time is a journey. So come with us as we all learn together. Each of us are in a different place, and that's okay. That is exactly just fine. I've got my co-host, Eric Cooper, here. He's been with me on this journey. Eric?
Yes,
welcome
sir.
back.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, today on the line is Joshua. He's the CFO of HBAR Foundation and Hedge. We've been talking to him this whole show. And Joshua, I know this might be a controversial question, but I was just curious, with all the stuff going on in the space, what is your favorite project and why? I mean, you might have to be, you might have to say HBAR.
I was going to say.
So, I don't know. Did we lose him there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, there he is.
I've lost you?
No,
you're good.
we hear you now. We hear you now.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's funny because I was about to say which it was, and the big sensor in the sky cut me off. But of course, it's the one I'm working for. But seriously, I can't exactly advocate a specific project. But I like to speak to what are the spaces that are exciting? Because the space is now a dozen years old. DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, and we can go down a rabbit hole with that too. But look up DAOs. For example, my old employer, Shapeshift, is as decentralized the company. What does that even mean? And so there's a lot of opportunity in the DAO space. Folks at ETH Denver all talking about Web3. What is Web3? Also super new and emerging. And then NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And I think people are well aware of that because of this NBA stars and other folks that are really getting into the NFT space. So someone mentioned, I don't know if it's Eric or Russell or Matt, but had mentioned, how hard it is to stay on top of things and be tuned into things in the space. So much is happening so fast. I'm left behind too. There's really a lot to learn. But if you look up three things tonight, DAO, DAO, Web3, and of course NFT, and those are the hot spaces I think in years to come.
No, 100%. And obviously, there are so many intelligent people across the country, across the world, and they're interested in this, and they are coming up with new ideas. And I'm to Batman and Robin, I feel like Alfred. Kind of sometimes I don't have any superpowers. I'm just the guy that kind of helps out. But for someone who has a full-time career in the crypto space, do you take any of your pay in directly converted to crypto, or do you feel comfortable sharing that?
Oh, no, it's a great question, right? Because there's a lot of different ways. And that's also part of the genesis of Hedge is how, if my employer doesn't offer to pay me in crypto, how can I get directly into it without going through all the hoops of going to an exchange? I'm just a lowly bookkeeper who's a W-2 and gets paid a normal wage like everyone else. But if you are going to get paid in crypto, and it does exist in the industry, of course, there's just a lot of considerations because it is being paid in a property that has to be reported to our tax friends. And so there's a lot of considerations there. And depending on the company you work for, you will have that choice. And so you definitely want to consult with your tax advisor on what the best approach there is.
Joshua, so we're about to wrap up here, but obviously we want you to get the attention that we think you're a pretty great guy. We think that we can learn a lot, and so can our listeners. Where can they find you across the social platforms?
Well, I'm only on LinkedIn, and it's because of the exchange business. You get a lot of interested people, and I'm air quoting interested. So unfortunately, I'm not I've got taken down from Twitter and all on Facebook by our security team. But I'm on LinkedIn, happy to connect and communicate with folks. And I just want to take a moment to say, thanks, Matt, Eric, Russell, for having me on the show, and thanks to the listeners in Tulsa and everywhere else for listening. I really appreciate it.
That's right. And, as he was mentioning DAO, the concept of decentralizing an organization or some collective group of people, Charlie Spears, who's in studio here, he's actually spearheading a DAO here in Tulsa.
Yeah.
You want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, and we didn't come here to talk about this, but I'm so excited to talk about it. And I'm really glad you brought it up, Joshua, because we have these monthly Bitcoin meetups, right? But the space is very big, and we want to create a bit of a bigger umbrella. Like, I'm a Bitcoin guy. That's what I want to talk about. But ultimately, I believe, and we believe, that everyone is directionally headed towards the positive adoption of all these new technologies. And so you can create kind of an association or nonprofit or all these things. And a DAO, which is an entity or organization on a blockchain, we thought it'd be appropriate to mirror an organizational body or kind of an initiative in Tulsa to promote Bitcoin and the healthy adoption and education of the broader digital asset space. And so we don't yet have all the pieces lined up, but if you come to a Bitcoin meetup or if you start paying attention to the Tulsa DAO, TULSA DAO, you'll start seeing us workshops, promotions. We hope to be have a representative who the city of Tulsa calls whenever they're like trying to wrap their heads around what crypto or Bitcoin is, or if this big Bitcoin mining company wants to come take advantage of all the energy in Oklahoma. Like, there needs to be public education and advocacy for healthy policy and a healthy public. So that's kind of what the Tulsa DAO is, which is a little bit different than maybe some other DAOs, but this is a very emergent, nascent space, and we're excited to build a locally focused DAO.
One more time, Charlie, can you share where people can find out about the next meetup?
Yes. You can go to you can search on meetup.com, Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup, or you can go to the private Facebook group, Tulsa Monthly Bitcoin Meetup. It can be a little bit hard to find. And the meetup this month is this Thursday at 7 p.m., Bar 473. This Thursday, 7 p.m., Bar 473. And we're talking about why Bitcoin is urgent.
Love it. Love it. Well, Joshua, it's been an absolute honor. Thank you for spending your Sunday evening with us. And we will be chatting with you soon. I'm so pumped to see you so involved in this space. It's going to be a real adventure and journey. So I'm happy to know you, and hopefully we can have this conversation again.
Guys, thanks so much. I'll look forward to seeing you in Miami. Definitely say hi.
Absolutely.
All right. So a lot coming up, starting with that Tulsa Bitcoin meetup again Thursday at 7 at Bar 473. Don't forget about that Bitcoin Day event down the wrong end of the turnpike. That's okay. And if you want to save some money on that Miami ticket, then you need to go to mattjmoore.com, and we'll see you right here next Sunday for Cryptocurrencies with Matthew J. Moore.